Carl Jung exposes why someone is always on your mind. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Carl Jung. Have you ever wondered why a certain person keeps showing up in your thoughts even when you've tried to move on? In today's episode of Spiritual Wisdom, we dive into Jung's profound insight on how the unconscious mind uses memory, emotion, and energy to deliver messages our conscious mind often overlooks. This isn't just about obsession. It's about spiritual growth and uncovering what your soul is really trying to say. Share in the comments. Who's been on your mind lately, and what do you think your soul is trying to reveal through them? Let's explore together. 1. Lingering thoughts aren't random. You may believe you've moved on. You've deleted their number, blocked their profile, filled your schedule, and convinced yourself you're over it. Yet, in quiet moments, when you're lying in bed, walking alone, or hearing that one song they return, not in body, but in thought, their memory lingers like a shadow, subtle yet persistent. And no matter how much time passes or how distracted you stay, they resurface. Carl Jung taught that nothing arising from the unconscious is ever random. If someone continues to appear in your mind, it's not because you're stuck, it's because your soul is trying to speak. They are not just a memory, they are a symbol. In Jungian thought, people who persist in our minds often serve as projections mirrors, reflecting something hidden within us. Maybe they remind you of a moment when you felt truly seen. Maybe they represent the validation you once craved, or the abandonment you've never fully healed from. The mind doesn't return to someone without reason. There's a deeper meaning trying to emerge beneath the emotion, one rooted in spiritual wisdom. When the psyche brings someone back to the forefront, it's offering you a thread, an invitation to follow it inward. Their presence isn't about who they are now. It's about what they awakened in you, parts of your inner self that were touched, triggered, or transformed. The feelings you associate with them, whether longing, regret, resentment, or yearning, are not attached to their physical being. They belong to your inner world, and your inner world is trying to be seen. Often, it is the emotional echo of the past that returns, asking for acknowledgement, not repetition. Sometimes we confuse persistence with fate. We believe the mind's obsession means unfinished destiny. But in spiritual wisdom, what repeats is not always meant to be rekindled. It's meant to be reconciled. That person may have served their purpose already. Their lingering presence could be the residue of an emotional pattern you've outgrown, or a wound asking to be finally healed through self-reflection, not reunion. You're not meant to chase them. You're meant to understand what they represent. Jung emphasized that healing happens when the unconscious becomes conscious. So instead of asking why you can't stop thinking about them, ask what their presence is trying to teach you. What unmet need do they symbolize? What part of you was activated in their presence that still seeks your attention now? When you shift the focus from them to you, you reclaim your power. You stop being haunted and start becoming whole. The truth is, your mind is not betraying you. It's guiding you. Your thoughts are not proof of weakness. They are whispers of unfinished wisdom. And when you finally listen, when you follow the thread inward, you discover that the one you couldn't stop thinking about was never the end goal. They were the mirror that led you back to yourself. If this message resonated with something deep within you, trust that it's not by accident. According to Jung, Lingering thoughts are messengers from the unconscious, not coincidences. If you're ready to explore what your soul is really trying to say, comment below. I trust the wisdom within me. 2. The power of the unconscious mind. When someone keeps coming to mind, no matter how hard you try to forget them, it's not just nostalgia, it's your unconscious mind trying to communicate with you. Carl Jung believed that nothing in the psyche is random. Every lingering thought, every familiar face that reappears in your dreams or memories holds symbolic meaning. The unconscious stores what we haven't fully processed, unresolved emotions, old wounds, and the parts of ourselves we've buried under responsibility, routine, or fear. These people who come to mind again and again aren't necessarily about love or longing. They are mirrors. They reflect unmet needs, unfinished lessons, or pieces of your identity that are trying to return home. You may have told yourself that it's just a passing thought, something meaningless that time will erase. But spiritual wisdom tells us otherwise. The more you try to suppress a message from the soul, the louder it becomes. That person isn't haunting you. They're representing something sacred that still needs your attention. It could be the version of you that was once alive when they were around, more passionate, more spontaneous, more hopeful. Or maybe they remind you of a time when you felt deeply seen. Your unconscious doesn't care about the facts of the past. It works in symbols, emotions, energy. And until you decode the message, the symbol remains active. Take Lara, for example. She hadn't spoken to her college ex-boyfriend in over a decade. She was in a new relationship, had a thriving career, and yet he still appeared in her thoughts. At first, she dismissed it as emotional residue, but it kept happening. After some inner work, she realized she didn't miss him. She missed the version of herself who believed anything was possible. That person, once full of dreams and creativity, had become buried beneath years of perfectionism and burnout. Her mind wasn't calling for a reunion. It was calling for a return to her own spirit. Carl Jung's spiritual wisdom reveals that when we ignore the unconscious, it doesn't go away. It takes control. We start repeating patterns, attracting the same emotional dynamics, or feeling empty without knowing why. Jung famously said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." When someone lives rent-free in your mind, it might be your soul inviting you to reclaim something powerful, tender, or forgotten. That person is a message wrapped in memory. Stop trying to forget. Start trying to listen. Let the thought lead you inward. Ask, what am I avoiding? What does this memory awaken in me? What part of myself is being mirrored through them? Only when you face these questions with honesty can you finally feel peace. This is not about romantic longing. This is about self-retrieval. The person is simply a symbol, and when you honor what they represent, the emotional hold begins to dissolve. Not because they disappeared, but because you finally understood what your unconscious was trying to say. Have you ever listened to what your unconscious mind is trying to tell you? If you've had an experience where a memory or person kept resurfacing, share it in the comments below. It might help someone else feel seen. If not, simply comment, "I'm ready to listen," and begin this powerful journey within. 3. Projection. Seeing yourself in them. Carl Jung, believed that what we see in others often says more about ourselves than about them. His concept of projection reveals a powerful truth. When someone stays on your mind, it's often not because of who they are, but because of what they symbolize within you. It's not their personality, their presence, or even your shared memories that haunt you. It's your own inner material, your unexpressed desires, repressed emotions, disowned strengths projected onto their image. They become a mirror, not a memory. You're not thinking about them. You're thinking about the freedom they radiated when you felt caged, the emotional depth they embodied when you were still guarding your heart, the confidence they carried while you questioned your worth. What keeps them alive in your thoughts is not love or longing. It's an unmet part of yourself begging to return. Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." That's why the mind keeps circling back to certain people. It's not fate, it's a message, a signpost, an invitation to awaken. And here lies the spiritual wisdom. Your mind is not betraying you by remembering them. Your soul is trying to help you find yourself. That persistent thought, the recurring dream, the random emotional wave, they're not warnings to go back. They're signals pointing inward, toward self-integration. The other person is just a symbol, a sacred reflection of something you've left behind or refused to accept. They may embody your lost voice, your abandoned creativity, your fearless innocence. This is not obsession. This is the beginning of spiritual awakening. The unconscious doesn't waste energy. It sends you the same message until you listen. So the real question isn't, why can't I stop thinking about them? It's, what part of me have I forgotten, rejected, or feared to reclaim? That's the key. That's the breakthrough. Because once you stop chasing the ghost of someone else and start reclaiming the parts of yourself they reflect, you return to wholeness. You stop waiting for them to come back and start inviting yourself to come home. You realize the relationship was never just about them. It was always about what you needed to see in you. And that is the true miracle behind the mind's fixation. It's not madness. It's a map, a path back to your essence. In that clarity, the emotional grip loosens. You forgive them, not because they need it, but because you no longer need to hold on. You thank them not for what they gave you, but for what they revealed. And slowly, you step into your light, whole and awake, no longer searching outside for what was always waiting within. Are you ready to reclaim the parts of yourself you've projected onto others? If so, comment below. I see myself clearly to begin this journey of self-awareness and healing. Let's transform reflection into realization together. 4. Shadow projections and emotional triggers. Some people leave a mark on your mind not because they were special, but because they triggered something deep, something unresolved within you. Carl Jung understood that these people are not random. They're mirrors. When someone stirs up your emotions through abandonment, betrayal, or rejection, they are often activating a hidden wound already inside you. It's not about the person themselves. It's about what they represent. A doorway to the parts of you that feel unworthy, forgotten, or unseen. These people act like emotional alarms, calling your attention to the parts of your psyche that still need your love, your awareness, your healing. This is the nature of shadow projection. Jung taught that what you don't bring into the light of consciousness will continue to run your life, and you'll mistake it for fate. So if you find yourself obsessing over someone, even though logic tells you it's over, realize that your fixation is not love. It's a wound searching for resolution. Your mind replays that connection not because it wants that person back, but because it's still trying to process what that person revealed. The loop continues because the pain remains misunderstood, unintegrated, and until you bring clarity to the wound, your unconscious will keep reaching out through memory, through longing, through thought. This cycle is not your fault, but it is your responsibility. Spiritual wisdom teaches us that triggers are sacred teachers. They show you where you are still fragmented. And that person who lingers in your thoughts, they are the symbol of a deeper story. A story that began long before them. Maybe it was the parent who made you feel invisible. Maybe it was a childhood moment where you learned that love must be earned. Whatever the origin, the emotional pain isn't new. It's just been awakened. And now, you are being given the chance to face it. When you start to ask, why am I so attached to someone who hurt me? You're not weak. You're waking up. This is the beginning of spiritual awakening, when you stop blaming others and start listening to your inner signals. Each trigger becomes a compass pointing inward. Each emotional echo is an opportunity to reclaim your lost pieces. You are not obsessed with them. You are being pulled toward yourself. The healing doesn't lie in forgetting them. It lies in understanding why they appeared in your life and what they were meant to teach. This journey isn't about erasing the past. It's about transforming your relationship with it. Spiritual wisdom reminds you that the mind loops when the soul is trying to be heard. And when you truly hear it, when you embrace the pain, not as punishment, but as guidance, then the memory loses its grip. Not because it's gone, but because it has been alchemized into truth. You become free, not when they leave your thoughts, but when you no longer abandon yourself, trying to hold on to them. If this message resonated with a part of you that's been silently hurting, don't ignore it. Leave a like, subscribe to Spiritual Wisdom, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss powerful insights like this. In the comments, affirm your healing by writing, "I am ready to face my emotional wounds and grow." 5. Archetypes and soul-level attachments. Carl Jung believed that our deep attachments often have less to do with the person in front of us and more to do with ancient patterns alive within our psyche. He called these patterns archetypes, universal energies, like the anima, the inner feminine in men, and the animus, the inner masculine in women. These forces shape how we perceive, desire, and connect. When someone awakens an archetype within us, the experience can feel overwhelming, almost mythic. It's as if they were destined to cross our path, not because of who they are on the surface, but because of what they trigger in our unconscious. These connections are rarely random. Long before this person entered your life, the pattern they activated was already inside you, waiting to be stirred. That's why the bond feels magnetic, inexplicable, and difficult to sever. It's not about the relationship itself. It's about what they represent to your soul. They become a mirror for your inner yearning, your unresolved wounds, or your spiritual hunger for wholeness. The moment they appear, they don't just attract you, they activate you. Jung's spiritual wisdom teaches us that we don't just fall in love with people we fall into, parts of ourselves we haven't met yet. A man who awakens your inner fire may be reflecting your animus, your need to embody confidence, structure, or direction. A woman who stirs your deepest emotions might be invoking your anima, your call to embrace softness, receptivity, or inner peace. These archetypes demand integration. That's why certain connections feel like initiations, because they are. In today's world, it's easy to confuse emotional intensity with true connection. But Jung reminds us that what matters is not how long someone stays, but how deeply they awaken you. A brief encounter can leave a lifelong imprint if it touches the archetypal layer of your being. The longing that follows isn't always a sign you've lost something. It's often a call to explore what within you still longs to be healed, reclaimed, or expressed. So if someone is constantly on your mind, it doesn't always mean you're meant to be with them. It may mean your unconscious is urging you to pay attention. What are they showing you about your inner landscape? What archetype are they embodying? What shadow, wound, or gift are they awakening? When you begin to ask these questions, the obsession softens and the clarity deepens. The true spiritual journey, Jung would say, is not about possessing the other. It's about becoming whole within yourself. This is the essence of spiritual wisdom, recognizing that every soul who enters your life, whether they stay or leave, is part of your greater awakening. The goal is not to cling to the symbol, but to follow it back to the source of your own inner transformation. If this message resonated with your soul, leave a comment below. I honor the sacred patterns shaping my love. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss powerful insights like this on your journey of awakening and self-discovery. 6. Unhealed wounds hold you hostage. When someone keeps showing up in your mind, even after time has passed, it's not just nostalgia or random memory. It's your psyche trying to tell you something important. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." That person you're thinking about may not be the point at all. They may simply be the reflection of a wound still open within you. These recurring thoughts are emotional signals, just like physical pain alerts you to injury. When your mind won't let someone go, it's because something inside you hasn't been fully seen, felt, or healed. You might assume closure comes from the other person, an apology, a conversation, or even just seeing them one last time. But true closure comes from within. It comes when you're brave enough to ask, what part of me still hurts? Maybe it's not even about the person, but about the way they made you feel worthy, wanted, alive. And maybe what you're truly longing for is the version of yourself that existed in that moment. That's where healing begins. That's where spiritual awakening takes root, not in forgetting someone, but in rediscovering the pieces of yourself that were buried in that connection. Unhealed wounds operate like anchors. They tether your thoughts, your energy, and even your spirit to the past. The mind replays the same scenes, not to torment you, but to nudge you toward healing. And if you ignore it, if you keep distracting yourself or pretending you've moved on, the reminders only grow louder. But once you stop running from the discomfort and start listening to it with compassion, everything changes. You begin to see the thought not as a curse, but as a key and entry point to your inner truth. Spiritual growth isn't about detaching from feelings. It's about understanding them, integrating them, and learning from them. If someone keeps returning to your thoughts, it's not because you're weak or broken. It's because a part of your soul is trying to awaken through that experience. Your mind isn't haunted by them. It's haunted by what was left unsaid, unfelt, or unhealed. And the only way out is through the wound, through the grief, through the longing. So next time their name echoes in your mind, pause. Don't fight it. Ask yourself, what part of me are they reflecting? In that question lies the power to stop seeking closure from the outside and begin the real journey inward. That's not obsession. It's the sacred calling of your inner self, asking to be remembered, restored, and reclaimed. This is where your transformation begins. This is the quiet, beautiful pain of a soul that's finally waking up. If this message resonates with you, type "I choose to heal" in the comments to affirm your courage and self-awareness. Remember, healing begins when you stop seeking closure from others and start listening to your own soul. Let's walk this path of growth together. 7. The shadow self, the part you avoid. The shadow is everything you've rejected, denied, or disowned in yourself, not just your anger or fear, but even your unexpressed strength, your quiet jealousy, your hidden longing to be seen. These parts don't disappear. They go underground. They settle into the unconscious and begin to shape your relationships, your emotional triggers, and even your obsessions. When Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate," he wasn't speaking metaphorically. He was exposing the truth of human behavior. What you bury in the dark will eventually show up in someone else. That person, you can't stop thinking about the one who lingers in your mind long after they've left your life, might not just be a memory. They might be a mirror. Their presence haunts you not because of who they are, but because of what they reflect. Perhaps they triggered a part of you you've tried to silence. Perhaps they stirred up an emotion you didn't want to feel, or showed you something you needed to confront. Emotional intensity doesn't come from the surface. It comes from depth, from resonance. The more intense the reaction, the closer you are to something buried within. In spiritual wisdom, this is not a coincidence. It is an invitation. When someone provokes a powerful emotional response in you, they are awakening a dormant part of your psyche. This is how the unconscious speaks through projection, through attraction, through discomfort. You may tell yourself it's love, or hate, or nostalgia, but more often, it's recognition. That person carries a piece of your forgotten self, and your soul is trying to retrieve it. Jung taught that healing begins the moment we stop blaming the external and start listening to the internal. This means asking deeper questions, not "Why do they affect me so much?" but "What part of me is being shown through them?" Every fixation, every emotional echo is the psyche's way of pulling you inward. And when you follow it, when you stay with the discomfort instead of running from it, you begin to integrate. You begin to reclaim the fragments of yourself scattered in past experiences, old wounds, and unspoken desires. This is the sacred process of spiritual awakening. It's not about erasing thoughts or detaching from emotion. It's about allowing those emotions to guide you into the parts of yourself that are still waiting to be seen. The people who affect us the most are often soul messengers. Their role is not to stay, but to stir. They come to awaken what you've forgotten, to provoke what you've avoided, and to activate what you're ready to heal. So if someone is always on your mind, don't rush to forget them. Sit with the feeling. Trace it back. Follow it like a thread, because they might be pointing you toward the most powerful truth of all, that everything you seek, everything that calls out to you, is already within you, waiting to be owned, honored, and finally made whole. Comment below, "I'm ready to face my shadow," if you're committed to healing the parts of yourself you've buried for too long. Let this be the start of deep inner transformation. 8. Individuation, the path to freedom. True healing is not about forgetting. It's about remembering wisely, integrating every lesson, and calling back the parts of yourself you once gave away. Carl Jung called this process of individuation the sacred path of becoming whole. It's not about cutting people out or pretending certain chapters didn't shape you. Instead, it's about facing what was disowned, what was feared, and what was projected onto others, and taking radical responsibility for your inner world. When someone stays on your mind long after they've left your life, it's not always about them. It's about the part of you they represent. Maybe they mirrored your insecurity, your longing for approval, or your forgotten worth. The mind doesn't cling to people without reason. As Jung believed, nothing in the unconscious is random. The persistent image of someone in your psyche is often your soul's way of pointing you toward the healing you've been avoiding. Consider the case of a woman who tried everything to forget a past relationship. She traveled, meditated, blocked his number, and forced herself to smile through the ache. Yet late at night, he would still appear in her thoughts like a flicker of memory that refused to die. It wasn't because she missed him. It was because he carried something she had lost, a version of herself that felt seen and alive. She didn't need him back. She needed her back. This is the core of individuation. To let go, you must first understand what you projected. Did they carry your joy, your self-worth, your desire to be chosen? When you reclaim those qualities and hold them for yourself, the emotional charge dissolves. Carl Jung reminded us that until we make the unconscious conscious, it will control our lives, and we'll call it fate. If you don't recognize the deeper meaning of your attachment, you will keep attracting the same lesson in different forms. That person on your mind is a symbol. They are a teacher disguised as a memory. The real question is not, why can't I forget them? But what are they trying to show me about myself? When you extract the lesson and reintegrate the part of you that was missing, you don't just release them, you elevate. You stop giving your power to someone else and return it to your center. This is what spiritual wisdom teaches us. That true release doesn't happen when we push people out, but when we finally bring ourselves in. Healing is not suppression, it is reclamation. And the ones who linger in your thoughts the longest are often the ones who came to awaken you the most. If this message speaks to your soul, comment below with faith. I reclaim my wholeness. I am free. Your journey of individuation is sacred. Own every part of it. 9. Reclaiming your power. Instead of endlessly asking why you can't forget them, ask yourself what part of you still longs to be reclaimed. The truth is, they were never the missing piece. You are. You've always been. That restless feeling inside, that ache you can't name, it's not about them. It's about the power you handed over without realizing it. That memory, that ghost of a connection, is simply your soul trying to lead you home. Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." The person who lingers in your thoughts isn't a mistake or an accident. They're a mirror, a reflection of a deeper emotional truth you've buried. When you obsess, when you replay the same scenes in your mind, it's not just nostalgia, it's a spiritual awakening in disguise. The mind clings to them because your soul is calling you back to yourself. You were never truly haunted by them. You were being summoned. Summoned to heal. Summoned to recognize the projections you cast, the archetypes you fell into, the wounds that were never fully acknowledged. Every relationship we form carries unconscious meaning. Sometimes people appear in our lives not to stay, but to stir. They stir the waters so you can see what lies at the bottom. And now that the water is clear, you're not drowning, you're awakening. Peace doesn't come when they return. Peace comes when you finally stop chasing them and start choosing yourself. You reclaim your power the moment you recognize that you were not incomplete. They were simply a symbol, a placeholder for the part of you that still wanted to be chosen. But now you see clearly, and in that clarity, you no longer need them to remember your worth. This is not about letting go of a person. It's about letting go of the illusion that you ever needed someone else to validate your existence. That silence you feel now, it isn't emptiness. It's sacred space. It's the sound of your soul beginning to speak louder than your wounds. It's the gentle hum of wholeness returning. This is what a true spiritual awakening feels like. Quiet, uncomfortable, yet profoundly liberating. Now that you understand the nature of the attachment, now that you've seen your own patterns and projections, you are ready to walk forward freely. Not to forget them, but to finally remember yourself. Not to rewrite the story, but to reclaim the author's pen. This journey has always been inward. They were just the catalyst. And you are the revolution. To affirm your return to your own power, leave a comment below. I reclaim my energy. Your journey isn't about holding on. It's about coming home to yourself. Let your words be a reminder that you are no longer searching outside for what has always lived within. So, the next time someone lingers in your thoughts, don't rush to dismiss it. Instead, pause and ask what your soul is trying to reveal through their presence. As Carl Jung taught us, what appears to be about them is often a reflection of something unresolved within us. This is not obsession, it's a message from the unconscious. If today's video offered you clarity or a new perspective, let us know in the comments. And if you found this insight valuable, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Spiritual Wisdom. Hit the notification bell so you won't miss our upcoming videos on self-awareness, transformation, and the deep language of the soul. Until next time, stay mindful, stay open, and trust the wisdom within. What happens when you have the 7 marks of the chosen ones? Many are called, but few are chosen. Matthew 22:14. This timeless truth speaks directly to those who carry the hidden marks of a higher purpose. In today's video on spiritual wisdom, we're exploring the 7 powerful signs that reveal whether you are one of the chosen ones. These are not just traits, they're spiritual instructions that, when understood and lived daily, can lead to personal growth, inner peace, and a life of divine alignment. As you listen, Ask yourself, which of these marks do I carry? Don't forget to share your experience in the comments below and connect with others on this sacred path. Let's begin. 1. Unshakable inner knowing. There is a quiet force within you that no one taught you to trust, but you always have. It's that spiritual knowing, that deep pull in your chest that tells you you're here for more. Not more in the material sense, but more in purpose, more in truth, more in impact. Even when you couldn't explain it, even when the world demanded proof, something inside you whispered, "Keep going. This matters." That whisper was not random. It was revelation. You've walked through life carrying a compass that others couldn't see. Where most need external confirmation, you've relied on the soft, unwavering voice within. And even when it led you down paths filled with uncertainty or isolation, you followed it anyway. Because something in your spirit always knew. This inner guidance wasn't just instinct, it was divine instruction. You've made choices that others didn't understand. You've turned down comfort for growth, walked away from what looked good in favor of what felt true. And when people questioned you, when they said you were unrealistic, dramatic, or naive, you didn't collapse. You listened inward, not outward. And the voice within told you that obedience to your calling was more important than approval from the crowd. That is the mark of someone spiritually chosen. You are loyal to the truth, even when it costs you everything. You don't need reasons. You need resonance. You move when something feels aligned. You pause when something feels off. And you're rarely wrong. Your intuition has saved you from disaster, from heartbreak, from betrayal. It has guided you to divine connections, sacred places, and soul-healing moments. And though you may not always understand the why in the moment, time always reveals that your knowing was never wrong. It was simply ahead of the facts. This kind of spiritual inner knowing doesn't make life easier. It actually makes it more complex. Because while others can pretend, settle, or ignore the truth, you can't. You feel when something is out of alignment. You sense lies in voices that sound sweet. You detect energy shifts before anything is spoken. And though it can be exhausting, it's part of your sacred wiring. You were born to see what others can't, to feel what others suppress, to act on what others avoid. That's not weakness, it's wisdom. Think of spiritual giants like Joan of Arc, who followed an inner voice and defied an empire, or Nelson Mandela, who stood unwavering in his inner conviction while the world called him a prisoner. These weren't people with perfect logic or detailed strategies. They had something far more powerful, unshakable spiritual clarity. That same clarity lives in you. It's not loud. It doesn't demand attention, but it never fails you. There's a reason you can't be talked out of your truth. There's a reason you don't feel at home in environments that lack spiritual depth. And there's a reason you've always sensed that your journey has been anything but random. The reason is this: you are marked. And this inner knowing, it's the first sign that your soul remembers what your mind is still trying to understand. If you've ever felt that deep, unshakable pull towards something greater, trust it. That's your spiritual compass. Comment below. I trust my inner knowing to affirm your path and inspire others to follow their truth. 2. Repeated spiritual tests. Life has not gone easy on you. The weight you've carried The betrayals, the heartbreaks, the financial collapses, the silent battles fought behind closed doors, none of it was coincidence. These weren't just difficult chapters in your life story. They were spiritual trials, tailor-made to awaken the fire within you. Each blow was designed with divine precision, not to destroy you, but to reveal you, to bring forth the strength, patience, and spiritual depth that only hardship can birth. These repeated spiritual tests are not punishment. They are preparation. They are how the universe trains its chosen ones. While others sail through ease and predictability, your path has been steep, narrow, and unpredictable. And yet, it has carved you into someone extraordinary. Just as a diamond must endure intense pressure to shine, so too must the chosen be crushed before they can radiate light. You were not meant to blend in with the crowd. You were meant to walk through fire and still carry peace in your spirit. Every loss, every setback, every delay in your life was a hidden blessing in disguise. They were not dead ends, but divine detours. They redirected you back to your spiritual core. You've had to unlearn the world's noise to hear your soul's whisper. And in doing so, you've grown into a man who doesn't just survive, he transforms. Your pain has become your teacher. Your struggles, your sacred training ground. The spiritual wisdom you now carry wasn't gifted, it was earned. Through sweat, through silence, through seasons of not being understood. And what's more powerful than understanding? Purpose. These trials have not only strengthened your resilience, but revealed your mission. The chosen don't just endure, they lead. They carry the light into places where others fear to go. You've seen darkness not to be defeated by it, but to know how to walk others through it. You've tasted bitterness so that your words now carry truth. You've cried in secret so that now your silence carries authority. There's a spiritual weight to your presence that cannot be faked, and it came at a cost. You weren't meant for comfort. You were meant for impact. The fire didn't burn you, it built you. That's why you carry a calm that confuses chaos, a focus that sees through distractions, a heart that knows when to fight and when to surrender. This spiritual depth, this clarity, this strength, it's not found in men who've had it easy. It's found in those who've been through storms and chose to become the eye of it. So when others wonder why you've suffered more than most, let them know you were never being punished. You were being prepared. And now, whether you realize it or not, you are walking proof that the chosen are not born. They are forged. Through trial, through fire, through faith. Comment below. I embrace my spiritual training. If you're ready to rise stronger from every test and step fully into your divine mission. 3. Deep sense of isolation. You've often felt like an outsider, even in rooms full of people. It's not that you don't care about others, it's that something deep within you recognizes that your frequency doesn't match the world around you. This is not a random experience or a psychological phase. It is a spiritual indication. A chosen one often experiences this profound sense of isolation, not because they are broken, but because they are being spiritually set apart. The world may label it as loneliness, but your soul knows it as sacred separation. While others are comfortable in the noise and distractions, you find yourself drawn to silence, truth, and depth. This disconnect happens because your spirit vibrates at a higher level. You don't chase popularity or surface-level validation. You seek meaning, integrity, and divine alignment. The conversations that others find entertaining feel empty to you. The ambitions that drive most people seem hollow. Your energetic system is evolving, and as it rises in frequency, it naturally creates a distance between you and those who are still living unconsciously. It's not rejection, it's spiritual preservation. As this spiritual awakening unfolds, you begin to realize that isolation is not your enemy. It is your initiator. The absence of shallow connections makes room for the arrival of your true soul tribe, those who resonate with your light, your purpose, and your path. You won't have to search for them endlessly. They are drawn to your vibration like magnets to energy. These are the people who will honor your depth, speak your language, and remind you that you were never truly alone, only waiting for the right alignment. In this season of solitude, there is power. It teaches you discernment, sharpens your intuition, and deepens your connection with God, the universe, and your inner truth. Many spiritual giants, Jesus in the desert, Moses on the mountain, Buddha beneath the tree, experienced isolation before their calling fully emerged. It is the stillness that refines you. It is in the silence that you begin to hear the spiritual instructions clearly. You are not separate by accident. You are separate by design. The spiritual path does not begin with applause. It begins with silence. And in that silence, you are not being punished. You are being positioned. You are not abandoned. You are being aligned. So do not despise your sense of disconnection. It is a spiritual portal. Through it, you are being prepared for divine relationships, deeper truth, and a mission that cannot be fulfilled by the crowd, but only by the courageous few. If you've ever felt this deep sense of isolation on your spiritual path, know that you're not alone. Share your experience in the comments to remind others they're not alone either. And if you're still searching for your soul tribe, comment below. I am ready to find my people, so we can support one another on this journey of spiritual connection. 4. Unbreakable connection to the universe. You are receiving signs repeating numbers like 1111, vivid dreams, and perfectly timed synchronicities, not by accident, but because you are spiritually aligned. These are not just coincidences. They are messages from the universe, confirming that you are walking a divinely guided path. You have a spiritual bond with the universe that cannot be broken. It reaches out to you through symbols and patterns, reminding you that your journey is not random, but part of a greater spiritual design. The more you trust in these messages, the clearer they become, as if the universe is in constant conversation with your soul. When you dream, you don't just escape reality, you tap into a higher realm. These dreams often carry prophetic insights, healing visions, or answers to questions your waking mind hasn't even formed yet. You might wake up with an emotional clarity that wasn't there the night before, because your spiritual self has been traveling, learning, and receiving. This connection to the unseen is one of the clearest signs that you are chosen. The universe trusts you enough to reveal its secrets. It places knowledge in your hands, not through textbooks or logic, but through experience, intuition, and divine timing. Even during the day, you notice how life weaves together perfectly. You think of someone, and they appear. You ask for guidance, and within hours, a song, a stranger's words, or a number sequence delivers exactly what you needed. This flow, this harmony, isn't luck, it's alignment. The universe recognizes your frequency and responds to your energy. As Rumi said, what you seek is seeking you. That's why the signs keep coming. You are being affirmed, supported, and spiritually directed in ways that defy human explanation. There is also protection woven into this connection. You are shielded from paths that are not meant for you. Sometimes, what feels like rejection is actually redirection, orchestrated by a higher force watching over you. Doors close because better ones are already opening. Situations fall apart because your spirit cannot thrive where your soul does not belong. When you're chosen, the universe ensures your steps align with destiny, even if it means removing people, opportunities, or comforts. That's divine love in action. Your life becomes a living testimony to the power of spiritual awareness. The more you honor these signs, the more you step into your divine identity. You begin to walk with confidence, not because everything is certain, but because you know you are not walking alone. Each number, each dream, each moment of synchronicity reminds you that your path is sacred. And when doubt creeps in, the universe always sends another sign, gentle but undeniable, to lead you back into trust. If you've been seeing the signs repeating numbers, vivid dreams, perfect synchronicities, it's not a coincidence. It's confirmation. If you feel that unbreakable connection to the universe, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your experiences in the comments below. Let's align our energy and affirm this divine guidance together. 5. Ability to see beyond illusions. You have a spiritual gift, one that pierces through the noise, deception, and conditioning of the world. You don't just listen to what people say. You listen to the energy behind their words. You recognize when someone's smile hides an agenda, when a system is built on manipulation, and when the truth is being distorted for comfort or control. Your ability to see beyond illusions isn't something you learned. It's something you were born with. It's the quiet skill that allows you to detect lies, false flattery, and societal conditioning, even when it's dressed in charm or status. While most people settle for appearances, you dig deeper. You look for meaning. You want to know what's real, beneath the surface, beyond the mask, beyond the script society has handed everyone. Your mind doesn't stop at the first layer. It goes deeper, asking the questions others are afraid to ask. Why do we believe what we believe? Who benefits from this narrative? Where is the truth buried beneath the noise? This constant search for deeper understanding isn't a burden. It's your spiritual compass. And even when others can't see what you see, you know what's true because it resonates with your soul. This level of awareness doesn't isolate you, it activates others. Your very presence awakens people. They may not be able to explain why, but something about you stirs their spirit. You bring truth without needing to argue. You mirror people's hidden selves back to them, sometimes inspiring, sometimes confronting. And that mirror has power. It's not always comfortable for others, but it's necessary. You help them feel seen in ways they didn't expect. You don't just observe the world, you shift it by being fully aligned with spiritual truth. Your gift is not just perception, it's transmission. Without saying a word, you help others question the lies they've been living. You disrupt illusions by simply being in your own clarity. You break generational conditioning, challenge shallow ideologies, and offer a path to something more honest, more aligned, more spiritual. That's why the energy changes when you walk into a room. That's why some are drawn to you and others are unsettled by you. It's because you carry the truth, and truth can't be manipulated. Even when you've been misunderstood or rejected, you've kept your sight. You've seen through the masks of charmers, the strategies of manipulators, the traps of systems meant to keep people small. And despite all this, your heart remains open. You don't just see what's wrong, you believe in what's right. You believe in awakening, in evolution, in the power of light to break through darkness. That's what makes your vision spiritual. It's not about being critical, it's about being free. And those who cross your path are forever changed by it. If this message resonates with your spirit, drop a comment of clarity. I see through the illusion. I choose the truth. Let your voice be a light for others still searching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss more powerful insights like this. 6. A calling to serve. You feel it in your bones, an urge that cannot be explained by logic, only by spirit. A deep, persistent pull to guide, to help, to heal. You may not have a formal title, a public platform, or even clarity on what your exact mission is. But what you do have is the unshakable spiritual knowing that you are here to uplift others. This is not ambition. This is not performance. This is your soul remembering why it came here in the first place. The desire to serve doesn't come from a place of superiority. It flows from love, from connection, from the quiet ache that arises when you see suffering. You don't just witness pain. You feel it, absorb it, carry it until you can transmute it into something lighter, something healing. Your compassion runs deeper than sympathy. It's spiritual empathy. And when others are around you, they feel it too. Without words, without explanation, your energy speaks. You are safe here. There's something about you that draws people in. Strangers confide in you. Friends lean on you. And even when you're in doubt about your path, others find clarity in your presence. This is no coincidence. Your energy carries light. Your words, whether spoken aloud or silently lived, offer warmth, truth, and hope. This is your spiritual blueprint in motion. You are designed to be a vessel of comfort, a mirror of divine love, and a reminder to others that healing is possible. Even in times of confusion, when you don't know what step to take next, the calling doesn't leave you. It follows you into your dreams, into your conversations, into the small moments of daily life. It shows up in the questions you ask, in the tears you shed for people you barely know, in the way you feel everything so deeply. And though this emotional sensitivity has likely been misunderstood, it is one of your greatest spiritual strengths. It means you are alive to the suffering of the world, and therefore positioned to help shift it. This is not about doing grand things for applause. It's about being fully present in the quiet, sacred moments where love is needed most. You know that healing doesn't always come through miracles. Sometimes it comes through presence, through patience, through simply holding space when no one else will. That's the mark of someone who has been spiritually chosen not to escape the world, but to transform it, one soul at a time. And although you may still wonder, why me? The answer lies in your heart's response. When you see someone struggling, something within you rises. You don't turn away. You lean in. You ask how you can help. That is the spiritual call. That is divine purpose echoing through your being. You were never meant to fit in. You were meant to be a light, a guide, a healer, not by accident, but by sacred design. If this message resonates with your soul, repeat after me. I accept my calling to serve. I trust the path unfolding before me. 7. Unshakable resilience. You've survived experiences that would have crushed most people, and not only did you survive, you transformed. What once brought you pain, you turned into purpose. What once tried to bury you, you used as the soil to rise even stronger. This isn't just strength. It's spiritual resilience. It's the quiet fire in your soul that keeps burning even when no one else sees the flame. Pain didn't paralyze you, it prepared you. While others crumbled under pressure, you found clarity in the chaos. And now you carry wisdom that can't be taught in books. The truth is, chosen ones are not made in comfort. They are carved by hardship, sculpted by suffering, and refined by fire. Every sleepless night, every unanswered prayer, every door slammed in your face, these weren't punishments. They were preparations. You've been spiritually trained to endure storms so that you could one day become shelter for others. That's why your heart still loves, even after betrayal. That's why your spirit still hopes, even when it has every reason not to. You are walking proof that wounds don't define you, how you heal from them does. Your strength isn't loud. It's not about shouting or showing off. It's in your silence. It's in the way you keep showing up, day after day, when no one's cheering for you. It's in the way you forgive without receiving an apology. That's the mark of someone who is spiritually chosen. There's a sacred force guiding you through it all, a divine hand that never lets you fall too far. You've always landed on your feet, not because you're lucky, but because you're led. And through it all, you've developed a strength that's unshakable, not because you've never been shaken, but because you've learned how to stand again after each fall. You bend, but you don't break. You cry, but you still continue. You feel deeply, but you don't let it destroy you. That's what makes you different. That's what makes you chosen. Not your perfection, but your perseverance. Not the absence of hardship, but the presence of grace in how you respond to it. Your resilience is not accidental. It's spiritual evidence of your calling. To affirm your strength and spiritual growth, declare your resilience. Comment below, I rise stronger, to honor your journey and inspire others to transform their pain into power. Thank you for watching this journey into the 7 powerful marks that set the chosen ones apart. If something in today's message spoke to your soul or gave you a new perspective, trust that it wasn't by accident. The spiritual path is rarely easy, but those who walk it with awareness and courage carry the light needed in this world. If you felt a connection to these signs, or if you're beginning to see them in yourself, you are not alone, and you were meant to hear this today. Don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to Spiritual Wisdom. And be sure to turn on the notification bell so you never miss our upcoming videos filled with insight, encouragement, and divine truth. Your awakening has just begun.